course. Yes, so today is Nature Day here at COP. And of course, for us at the Wildlife Trusts, that's incredibly important. You know, I've long been really frustrated at how so many people have treated the climate crisis and the nature crisis as if they're separate issues, and yet they're inextricably linked. We cannot hope to solve the climate crisis unless we tackle the crisis in nature, and we cannot hope to solve the ecological emergency unless we tackle the climate emergency. We have to stop burning fuels as fast as possible, and we have to put nature in recovery. It's not either or. But if we can do that at scale and at pace, then we might just have a hope. And right at the centre of that, of course, is around agriculture, because 70% of the land in the UK is farmed. Globally, 25% of emissions are associated with agricultural land use in one way and another. So we absolutely have to have the right agricultural policies in place to drive a transition to nature-friendly farming and to sustainable agriculture. What we do have, of course, is a story here in the UK of the agricultural transition that has been talked about and been planned for over the last few years, as we come out of the Common Agricultural Policy and farmers no longer will get direct payments for food production. And the Wildlife Trust has been at the forefront of really trying to work and shift that policy change here in the UK to move to more nature-friendly farming. The government has got a series of schemes in place that it's been developing called environmental land management schemes, and it's often been talked about. When Michael Gove was Secretary of State for the Environment, he promised this move from public money to public goods, that in other words, where we have subsidies, that they will be for good things rather than just supporting farmers for the food production that the market can pay for anyway. This still has not been delivered yet, and it's taking a while to come through, and the detail does still not exist for that. What we are becoming increasingly concerned about at the Wildlife Trust is, after all the huge promises that this agricultural transition will lead to much more nature-friendly farming, actually we're becoming increasingly concerned that it's looking like business as usual, and we're going to keep monitoring that and keep the pressure up. But you know, some recent announcements and some recent information we've had is causing real concern that the agricultural transition in the UK is not going to be nearly as good as it could or should have been. And this matters so much. If we cannot make sure that we can have agriculture working to put nature in recovery, then we're going to completely fail on this agenda. And of course, sometimes people will say to me, oh, but Craig, what about food security? Of course we need to keep producing food and so on. Of course we do. Of course we need food. I like food just as much, if not more, than most people. But think about this. There's no such thing as food security if nature continues to be in decline, if our pollinators are in decline, if we're losing our soils, if we're reducing our soil fertility.